This is Real Talk, Real Faith inside Soulful Sister Sanctuary. I am your host, Zaria Grace. This space is for grown women who love God, carry a lot on their shoulders, and are ready to live lighter. Here, we talk about why we feel the way we do and how to move with peace, clarity, and faith that feels steady. We're going to keep it real. We drop the mask and we lay it down so that God can lift it up. Take what fits, leave what doesn't, but don't ignore what hits. Now let's begin. You ever notice how ticked off people are lately? Like how everybody seems to be one inconvenience away from losing it. You go in the stores, the cashiers are tired, the driver behind you is mad, the group chat is tense, the news is heavy. 2026 has just been very ghetto because what is happening? Every single time you turn around, here comes another headline, another bill, another argument, another breaking news alert. And I don't think people are just angry. I think people are starting to get really, really overwhelmed. They're spiritually tired, mentally exhausted, and feeling burned out. For some of us, even before we've brushed our teeth in the morning, we've already consumed bad news, politics, arguments, economic fears, social media opinions, other people's panic, and 15 videos explaining why and how the world is just falling apart. And then we wonder why our nerves feel shot before noon. I was sitting in my car in a parking lot after running some errands the other day, and I noticed that I was just feeling so anxious, like so anxious. Nothing bad had personally happened to me that day. Nobody called me with bad news. Nothing happened, but my shoulders were just tight. My mind was just racing. My body was just uncomfortable. And then when I stopped and really thought about it, I realized that earlier that day, I had spent hours consuming everybody else's fear before I even had a chance to just check in with myself. And I sat there and thought to myself, this cannot be normal. This is not healthy, because it's not. I really just don't think that human beings were designed to emotionally process the suffering, outrage, tragedy, and just the panic of millions of people all day long. And yet, here we are, carrying the emotional weight of the world in our pockets. And listen, I'm not saying that there are not real problems out here happening, because there are. People are financially struggling. Gas prices are soaring. Groceries are high. People are worried about their jobs. And some people are barely holding it together emotionally. And nobody around them even realizes that. And yet somewhere in the middle of everything that's happening in this world, here we are still trying to love God. We're still trying to pray, raise our children, and stay soft in this world. And if you're like me, maybe somewhere deep down you've thought, God, how in the world are we supposed to live like this? because this is a lot. And I think some people feel guilty for admitting that part, especially women. No, especially Christian women. Because sometimes people make it seem like because we know God that we should never be overwhelmed and anxious or emotionally tired or mentally worn down. And I just don't think that's true. I think a lot of people are overwhelmed and overloaded. Just because your nervous system is responding to the constant stress doesn't mean that we're spiritually weak. It actually just means that we're human. And the scary part, we can access all of this information almost 24 hours a day. Think about it. Any given moment, we can open our phones and see another death, another tragedy, another shooting, another "this country is doomed" post, another video telling us to panic. And if we can be real, some of us are really spiritually drowning in information. We are over-informed and under-rooted. That is the phrase that just kept sitting with me this week. Over-informed and under-rooted. We know everything that is happening everywhere, but we don't even know how to be still anymore. Some of us haven't even heard our own thoughts without all that background noise going on in years. There's always just something playing, a podcast, a video, music, scrolling, noise. And honestly, I think some of us are afraid to sit in silence because silence forces us to finally feel what we've just been outrunning. And I know somebody listening just felt that in their chest. Because this world is loud and our souls are tired. Now, I'm not saying that people are overreacting, because there are definitely real problems happening in this world. But there's a difference between compassion and consumption. Compassion moves you towards something. It moves you towards prayer, presence, love, wisdom. But consumption keeps you emotionally spinning on a hamster wheel, round and round, over and over. Some of us have been confusing constant emotional flooding with being informed. But anxiety is just not proof that you care more. Some people are carrying fear almost like a badge of awareness. But being emotionally overwhelmed all day, every day, is not the same as being informed. At some point, I think we have to stop and ask ourselves, what is all of this fear doing for our souls? Because your phone will preach to you all day long if you let it. Because your phone has a gospel too. And a lot of times it's the gospel of fear, outrage, comparison, scarcity, panic. Keep scrolling. Don't stop. Something else is wrong. Be afraid again. And the algorithm is making money from your attention. Not healing you, not grounding you, not protecting your peace, but just keeping you emotionally engaged. That realization alone changed something in me. Because some of us are feeding on chaos all day, every day, and then wondering why peace feels like it lives 1,000 miles away. You can't emotionally consume panic and expect your nervous system to be calm. Sometimes some of the most spiritual things that we can do right now is not real deep. Some of us don't need another breaking news update or to listen to anything else. We need water. We need sleep, prayer, quiet, a walk. Some of us need electrolytes, a nap, and a boundary more than another political debate. Sometimes peace also can feel real disrespectful when the world is hurting. Like, I hear you, but how do I rest when so much is going wrong? But listen, my sister, you don't have to emotionally destroy yourself to prove that you care about the world. You can care deeply without drowning in it. You can stay informed without becoming consumed. So what do we actually do with all of this? Because I don't think the answer is just ignoring it or becoming numb. But I think there are 3 things that we desperately need right now. First, we need boundaries again. And I know boundaries are not always popular because people make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. But here's the thing, not every opinion deserves access to your nervous system. Some of us are just too emotionally available to the entire internet and disconnected from our own souls. You don't have to emotionally attend every single argument, every comment section, every outrage cycle. Some of us lovingly need to close the app and take a walk outside. No, seriously. Go drink some water, call your mama, call your auntie, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Let your body calm down. Because if we're not careful, this culture will have us emotionally overstimulated that we cannot even hear ourselves think anymore. But quiet is holy too. Rest is holy too. And resting doesn't mean that you don't care about the world. Sometimes rest is what allows you to keep caring without falling apart. The second thing that I think we need is discernment. Because some of us are carrying things that were never ours to hold alone. And I think that's part of the reason why people are just so emotionally exhausted right now, why everything feels so urgent and personal and heavy. And social media especially just has a way to blur the lines between what we're aware of and then what we are actually responsible for. And emotional drowning doesn't always look real huge. Sometimes it looks like never fully being present in your life anymore. Your mind can be everywhere except where your feet are. Not every burden belongs on your shoulders. Not every crisis requires your emotional energy. Some of us have spent too much time carrying the emotional weight of the world, and we've neglected our actual lives. And if we're not careful, fear will start shaping our personality. We become more reactive, more anxious, less patient, less present. And I just don't think God called us to live in constant panic. Wisdom is knowing what to hold and what to place back in God's mighty hands. And finally, I think we need what I call faithful action instead of panic consumption. Doom scrolling tricks us into feeling productive while it's just quietly sucking the life out of us. It's just robbing us of our joy. And being emotionally overwhelmed is not the same as making a difference. At some point, we have to ask, what is one thing that I can actually do today? Not everything, not everybody, not every issue online, but just what is mine to do? Maybe it's praying about the issue. Maybe it's budgeting and facing your finances honestly. Maybe it's spending time with your kids. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's learning how to calm your nervous system. Because panic can keep us spinning, but faithful action grounds us. And honestly, I think helplessness too is a part of why so many people just feel emotionally overwhelmed right now. When you care about something so deeply, but it feels like there's nothing that you can do, it can make you feel powerless. So if there's something that you care about, get involved, vote, volunteer, call your legislators, support organizations that are doing meaningful work. Help somebody in your actual community. Have real conversations. Show up where you can. Because taking meaningful action feels very different than endlessly consuming all the panic online. One will leave you emotionally drained, and the other reminds you that I am not powerless. And no, you're not going to change the entire world by yourself. None of us are. But faithful action reminds us that compassion was never supposed to stop at emotional overwhelm. The world is loud right now. There are real things happening. Real pain. Real fear, real uncertainty. But I cannot let fear become my identity. The news is not my shepherd. The algorithm is not my peace. Outrage is not my calling. God is still God. And even here, even now, even with everything happening in this world, remind yourself every single day that I am still held. If this episode blessed you, challenged you, or had you thinking, girl, me too, make sure to share it with someone who needs it. And let's connect beyond the podcast. Follow the Facebook page, Real Talk, Real Faith by Zaria Grace. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, and let me know what topics you want us to talk about next. Now, before you go, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and take one slow, delicious breath in and out. You have carried enough for today. God never asked you to be everything for everyone. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. And you are allowed to be cared for. Strong doesn't mean silent, and burnout is not holy. Let's lay it down so that God can lift it up, and I will see you inside the sanctuary.